It was December again, and for Raymond, this month was supposed to be his redemption. He had a rough year, to say at least. Work was stressing him out, his relationship were rocking, and his bank account wasn't exactly something to brag about. But Raymond wasn't about to let another December go by without at least trying to do something big, something that made him feel like he was winning at life. He promised himself that this December it was going to be different. He was going to make it grand, make it unforgettable. But there was one little problem. Raymond wasn't sure what great really meant anymore. He was tired of living a normal and quiet life. He wanted something flashy, something that would make people look at him and say, that guy got it together. So he started by buying things, big things. First on the list was a brand new car, not a cheap one. Raymond wasn't about that. He wanted a ride that turned head, something that screamed success. He pulled out a loan, signed a few people, and drove off in a shiny, expensive car that he knew he couldn't really afford. But it didn't matter, at least for now. Next, it was time to get the wardrobe right. Raymond went shopping and brought the most expensive clothes he could find. Sharp suits, designer shoes, the whole works. He wasn't even sure how to wear half of it, but it didn't matter. If it looked expensive, then it was. He thought if he looked the part, people would start treating him like someone important. Then came the party. Oh, the party. Raymond decided that he was going to throw the biggest Christmas bash anyone had ever seen. He rented a fancy venue, hired a DJ, and bought enough alcohol to fill an Olympic pool. People from all over was invited. Raymond knew most of them didn't really care about him, but that wasn't the point. This was his time to shine. This was his moment. The night of the party, Raymond was on fire. He was smiling, laughing, acting like the life of the party. He mingled with everyone, told stories about his business ventures, about how he was close to striking it big. He made it sound like he was just one deal away from becoming a millionaire. But deep down, Raymond knew the truth. His business was struggling, his bank account was draining, and he was living off borrowed money. But he didn't care. This was December, and nothing was going to ruin his great moment. But as the night went on, Raymond started to feel something he wasn't expecting, like an emptiness. He looked around at all the people who were laughing and drinking, but no one was actually interested in him. They were just there for the free booze and to be seen as the coolest person in town. They didn't care about his struggles or his life. They didn't even really know him. They were just there because they wanted to be part of something big. As midnight came and went, Raymond stepped out onto the balcony, trying to get some fresh air. He started at the city lights, wondering what it was all for. He did spend so much time and money trying to impress people, trying to make this December special, and yet he felt more alone than ever. He didn't have real friends. He didn't have real connections. He just had a bunch of people pretending to care about him for the night. The next day, Raymond woke up with a headache and a stomach full of regrets. He looked at his phone and there were messages about the party, but none of them were real. They were just people asking for more money, more parties, more favors. It was the same old things, but Raymond wasn't done. He was determined to make this December so great, even if it killed him. So he decided to even go bigger. He went out and bought more things, flashy gadgets, expensive gifts, and clothes for people who weren't even on his Christmas list. He spent money like he was playing Monopoly. He didn't even care that his bank account was empty. What mattered was how good he looked in front of everyone else. He even went further. Raymond started renting out fancy restaurants for dinner parties, inviting people who barely knew him but who looked like they could help him get ahead. He wasn't even enjoying the meals. He was just there for the status, for the appearance of success, and every time he handed out a gift or paid for another expensive dinner, he thought, this is it. This is the December that's going to make me somebody. But the more Raymond tried to fill his life with things, the emptier he felt. Every gift he gave seems to be for the wrong reasons. Every party he threw felt more like a performance than a celebration. The money he spent never filled the void inside him. He was trying so hard to impress people who didn't care about him, and in the process, he lost his sight of what really mattered. One evening, as the cold December night crept in, Raymond found himself sitting alone in his apartment. The city lights outside twinkled, but they did nothing to warm him up. His phone buzzed with messages, but none of them brought him joy. He looked at the expensive car parked outside, the clothes he had brought, and the pile of bills on the table. It all seemed so hollow. That was when it hit him. He had sacrificed so much to take this December great, but what did he really have to show for it? He had spent his money, his time, and his energy on things that doesn't matter. He was chasing after approval from people who weren't really there for him. He had no real friends, no connections, and no peace of mind. Raymond realized that his idea of a great December was a lie. He hadn't spent the whole month trying to live up to some idea of success that wasn't even his. The more he chased it, the further away it got. So Raymond decided to change. He knew it wouldn't be easy, but he was done with the fake life he built for himself. He sold the car, he returned the clothes, he stopped throwing parties and started spending more time with the people who mattered to him. He reached out to old friends, apologized for neglecting them, and promised to be better. And he realized that it was okay to not have everything perfect. What mattered was being true to himself and the people who cared about him. As December came to a close, Raymond's life wasn't filled with the extravagant things he had hoped for, but it was filled with something more important: real connections, real peace, and the beginning of a new way of living. It wasn't glamorous, but it was real. That December, Raymond learned the hard way that sometimes the greatest sacrifice you can make is letting go of everything you think you need to find what you really want. The end.